Okay, this time Nigel's building a Southern Railway Q-class loco, and we were asked on about the building the dome and the chimney. Well, that's a little bit more work, shall we say, but they are straightforward if you think about it. The first thing you do, of course, is mark the position of the chimney and the dome on the top smoke box and the boiler. And to actually make the chimney, there's the drawing. You find out the height of the chimney, you find out the actual how wide it's going to be, because I mean after all, you need to cut a disc to support the chimney while you're working on it. Once you've got a disc, just cut out the card and it goes round the actual size of the chimney, okay, with a disc inside. Then every chimney has got a base it sits on top of the smoke box, and you've got the lip that runs across the top. So once you've got your chimney, the height of it, you cut a cardboard disc to go on top of the smoke box for your chimney to sit on, like that. Then you cut the disc to fit round the top of it. So you've got the basic chimney. Now, you don't build the chimney on the smoke box itself, okay? You make a working base, and you cut one the size of the smoke box, and you make one the size of the boiler. And you mark on there where the chimney is going to go. You cut the base disc, which is only tacked on here because you've got to be able to get it off. Then once you've done that, you glue your chimney on, you glue the lip on the top, like that. And once you've got the basic chimney on there, it looks like discs. Here's one we made earlier. Once it's on there, you then mix up some P38, pong the house out and use P38. It's good stuff, really. And you feed the P38 around the base on top of the base there, and around the lip at the top. Now the thing is with P38, you want it reasonably smooth. So what you do, you wet your finger and you move it round. P38 will not stick to a wet finger, okay? And that you will get like that. You see, that is reasonably smooth. Same with that. When the top one's dry, you turn it over and you put P38 round the base of that. But the nice thing is with that, once that's dry, you can get a knife and you can work that just to get that beautiful and smooth and the right shape all the way round. Like this, and you see you can work that, and that you will get a lovely shape around there, okay? And once that's actually once you've finished working it, get a little bit of sandpaper and run that round, and from that you will get a lovely chimney. And because that chimney's only been tacked on here in the centre, you can get a knife underneath and that will come free. And because when you do this, you will get some damage to here. It always happens. And it doesn't matter whether you damage this, but what you don't want is damage to the actual smoke box or the boiler. That's why you make one of these, okay, a pattern. So right, that's the basic chimney. I'll show you it once we get it you know, sort of sanded and smooth and that sort of thing, and off of here before we spray it. Next thing will be the dome and the base for the safety valves. They're both done the same way. Okay, so we'll move on to that next. Okay, so the P38's been smoothed down quite a bit now, and you can see it's looking much better. The chimney has now got to be what we call gunged. In other words, it's going to have a good soaking in shellac and that will toughen up the card, and it'll mean that the card can then be sanded, take out the join line there, and then once that's completely dry, we'll get a little bit of sandpaper on it around there, finish it off. It can come off, then it can be glued to the loco, and we'll show you that once we've done it. Okay, here's the chimney on the smoke box, and you can see it's been smoothed around, and once that's actually sprayed black, it'll look absolutely fantastic. Easy, a little bit of card. Right. Right, the next thing, of course, is the dome. And you've got the disc which holds the dome onto the boiler. There it is. And you can see the line on there shows the size of the dome. Well, we put just a little bit of glue on the back just to tack it, and that goes on there like that. Okay, and the next thing now, which is one of the worst jobs of the whole thing, will be to cut out disc after disc after disc after disc to make up the height of the dome. In point of fact, we use 2mm card for this. You don't have to cut so many. When we've cut the actual more than the height of the dome, you've actually got to go from here to here, because what you do once you've got the basic dome, you have to take away some underneath because of the curve of the boiler. Then once you've got the actual thing itself, get a sanding disc on a mini drill and smooth it round. Get it reasonably smooth, then you gunge it. But we'll show you that as we go along. So the next thing will be to cut out the discs. Right, you can see that he started cutting out the discs. This is definitely the worst bit. And gluing them together until he gets the correct height. And then once that's done, they will be sanded with a mini drill just to get all that off before they can be gunged, and then once that's done, they can be then sanded again and to the correct shape, because the dome on a Q doesn't have a rounded top like some engines. It's just the engines that are rounded. As you can see, Nigel comes up a bit. Come on. We were talking about the dome, and as I said, you've got to cut out lots and lots of discs and glue them together, and here we are. And obviously this is just the false boiler, so when you work on this, you're not going to cause any harm to the actual boiler on the engine. And that now has got to be smoothed down. You cut the top corner off with a knife, and then you get your mini drill out with one of these, and you take it down all the way round till you get it smooth. Once you've done that, you gunge it so you can sand it. Okay, so that's our next stage, and I'll show you as we do it. Right, using the sanding this attachment on the mini drill, Nigel's now taking the roughness off where we've joined the disc together, and you can see it's coming up quite nicely, and we'll show you again once it's finished. Okay, so you see now the dome has been filled, sanded, and is now in place on the locomotive boiler, and I think you'll agree that does look quite something. Nigel's made a nice job of that. Right, the next thing is the safety valve mount. You can see there, that's got to be done, but that'll be done with flat carb with the engine sanded round and filled, and that will go up on here on top of the firebox. That's the next job, and to be perfectly honest, that's the last of the awkward jobs. So yeah, I hope that explains how we put together the chimney, the dome, and I'll show you how he's done the safety valve mount once we've done it. Okay. Okay, there we are. As I said before, there's the drawing of the safety valves and the safety valve bonnet that's on top of the firebox. And here we are. I said that's been made up with a couple of layers of card and a bit of P38 around it. And the next thing now will be to gunge the card that's there, sand it, shape it, take the edge off, and then it'll be down to making the safety valves to go on top. We'll show you exactly how that's done shortly. Okay, decide how high the safety valves are, then you roll some paper to the thickness of the safety valves, obviously glue it with white glue. Okay, now the top confuses some people. How do we get the top? And well, okay, yes, you could draw a nice little circle of card, then you've got to cut it out. Do it the easy way. Get yourself one of these, okay? And these are used for many different things, you know, punching holes in belts and things like that. But more importantly, they are used for pushing out card discs. And if you look in our little pot of wonders, you will see there are thousands and thousands and thousands of card discs. And all you got to do then is find the right one to go on the top of the safety valve. It goes on the top, and one safety valve is made. Okay, the whistle, well, we'll show you this when it's finished, but the whistle is next. There you go. That's a pair of safety valves, and they do nicely for there. And as I said before, the next thing will be the whistle, and we'll show you that as well. Aren't we good to you? Right, when you make the whistle's made in several parts, because you've got the bell, the lower part of the bell with the gap, then down here. So the first thing you do, you make a stem for the whistle, like this. Then you cut your paper to the length you need for the bell and the whistle. Okay, which is that's actually too big, but to give you an idea, once you've done that, glued around, then when you've done it, you push the center up like that. Okay, can you see that? then tuck the centre back down, and that gives you a dome shape, which you then put putty on and smooth it over. Okay, that'll make the top part the bell of the whistle. Once that's done and dried and pushed in, you'll get a better idea. There we are, safety valves on, the whistles are on, or whistle and fittings. And the next thing, we've got the pump to go on the side, and the injectors under the cab. But otherwise, the loco is nearly finished, and we've just got to get on. We're halfway through the tender, or sorry, Nigel's halfway through the tender, and that'll be another engine. And then what to do next? Ah, well,